If you're having a hard time writing about your purpose and describing your purpose, revisit the first worksheet because the first worksheet will allow you to identify your work. Let me tell you about the greatest job I've ever had in my life. When I was in college, I worked at IHOP. If you are ever in Tempe, Arizona, near Arizona State, there's a line of bars down a road called Mill Avenue. A whole bunch of bars. They're just like college bars, like little bars. Some of them are kind of like restaurants. I think there's a pool hall down there. And the road kind of goes up and then it curves into what is a hotel and then what is today a vegan restaurant. But way back like 20 years ago, it was an IHOP and I worked there. And that was my job. And I love that job. I worked the graveyard shift from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. At 2 a.m., all the bars would close and all the college students would come to the IHOP. And it was like working in a circus. There were like random fights. One girl like hit a guy over his head with a coffee mug. One girl was so drunk that she like threw up on the table and it looked like moist Captain Crunch. I think that was my first day working. But it was crazy. It was a wild place and I loved that job. But that was what I used to pay my bills. That was not my work. I was an English literature major and I was very passionate about writing novels. I wanted to be a novelist more than anything in the world. And we had these white coasters that we would give people to put under their drinks. And I would take those coasters, like a big stack of them, and just write poetry and write different type of phrases that I would use in novels or stories and just sit there whenever I didn't have clients or whenever my customers' food wasn't ready, I would just sit there and write. Sometimes I would forget their food because I was writing so much. But everybody knew I was a writer and everybody that I knew within my circle knew that I loved to write. When I wasn't writing, all I was doing was drinking, smoking weed, chasing girls, and falling asleep in class. But when I wasn't doing that, I was writing. Writing was my work. I say all of that to say that you want to align your work with your purpose. This is not your job. Maybe you hate your job, but you have to identify what your work is. And that's going to be connected to your purpose. And that will help you ultimately be much more resilient and move in a very productive and tenacious way towards your goals.